Longevity Secrets from Japan. 6 Daily Rituals to Live Longer and Stronger. Have you ever looked at someone well into their 80s or 90s, standing tall, walking without a cane, laughing with a sparkle in their eye, and thought, what's their secret? Maybe you've even asked yourself why some people seem to age effortlessly while others struggle with energy, mobility, or motivation long before retirement. It's not magic. It's not expensive treatment or some rare DNA. It's something far more powerful: daily habits. And nowhere in the world is this more evident than in Japan, where people live longer than almost anyone else on the planet. In fact, the island of Okinawa in southern Japan is known as one of the world's blue zones, places where people regularly live into their 90s and 100s, not just surviving, but thriving. What's fascinating is that the people living in these regions aren't doing anything extreme. They're not obsessed with supplements, diets, or fitness routines. Instead, they've built small, consistent rituals into their days, simple acts of movement, connection, nourishment, and mindset that keep their bodies strong, their minds sharp, and their hearts full of purpose. And the best part? You can start doing these things too. Right now. Right where you are. These aren't secrets meant to be kept. They're quiet truths that can help you add more life to your years. Let's begin with something you might already be doing, just not with the same intention. In Japan, walking isn't just about getting from point A to point B. It's a way of life. You'll see elders in Okinawa and Tokyo alike walking to the market, strolling through gardens, or simply moving from place to place with quiet purpose. And they do it every day. This habit isn't about breaking a sweat or reaching a step goal. It's about staying in motion. Our bodies are made to move, and when we stop moving, our energy slows, our joints tighten, and our independence begins to fade. The people who live longest in Japan don't go to the gym. They move naturally throughout the day in ways that don't feel like exercise but still keep the body strong. So maybe for you it's walking around the block after lunch, watering your plants, dancing a little while the coffee brews. The point is to keep your body engaged. Not because you're chasing fitness, but because movement is medicine. Every step keeps your muscles active, your blood flowing, and your spirit lifted. Now, while they're moving, something else is happening too. And that brings us to the second powerful ritual: staying connected. In Japan, elders don't just live longer, they stay deeply involved in their communities. They gather daily for tea, for gardening, for group dances in the park. They belong to something called a moai, a small circle of friends who support one another emotionally, financially, and spiritually, often for life. This sense of belonging is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Studies show that loneliness is as damaging to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Let that sink in. That's how serious it is. But connection heals. Conversation heals. Being seen, heard, and valued, that keeps the heart strong. Now maybe you don't have a circle of friends nearby or family who visits often. That's okay. Start small. Talk to your neighbor. Join a book club or an online community. Invite someone for coffee. The habit isn't about having dozens of friends. It's about showing up for the people in your life and letting them show up for you. Because when we stay connected, we stay alive. And while you're building those connections, let's not forget what often brings people together: food. That brings us to the third ritual, one that's so simple yet so powerful: eating until you're almost full. In Japan, this is called hara-hachi-bu, and it means stopping when you're about 80% full. It's not a strict diet or a rule, it's a mindset. It's about listening to your body, eating slowly, savoring your meal, and stopping before you feel stuffed. Why does this matter? Because overeating leads to sluggishness, inflammation, and weight gain, all of which strain your heart, your joints, and your energy. But when you eat until you're just satisfied, not stuffed, your digestion improves. Your body feels lighter. Your energy stays steadier. You can try this at your next meal. Take smaller bites. Set your fork down between bites. Pause halfway through and check in. Am I satisfied? Or am I eating out of habit? You might be surprised how quickly your body starts to respond with more clarity and more gratitude. When you pair this practice with fresh, whole foods like vegetables, rice, fish, tofu, and fermented foods, you're not just eating to survive. You're eating to nourish. You're giving your body the kind of support that shows up in your skin, your joints, your immune system, even your mood. And speaking of mood, let's not forget how these daily rituals affect the way we feel. Emotionally, mentally, spiritually. When you walk with purpose, eat with mindfulness, and stay connected to others, your life begins to take on rhythm again. Your days feel meaningful. Your body feels trusted. You're not just passing time, you're participating in your own well-being. These are the quiet secrets of long life, not just more birthdays but more presence, more vitality, more laughter, More days where you feel strong, useful, and at peace. Now that we've explored how daily walking, meaningful connection, and mindful eating shape the lives of the longest living people in Japan, we're beginning to understand that longevity isn't about doing more. It's about doing less, but doing it with care. When you bring more care and awareness into how you move, eat, and connect with others, it's like your whole life starts to shift into alignment. The beauty of what we're learning from Japan is that it's not about adding more pressure to your day, it's about releasing pressure. It's about letting go of the rush, the overwhelm, the noise, and instead choosing a life that feels lighter, more grounded, and far more joyful. And nowhere is that more clear than in the next daily ritual, one that doesn't involve a single piece of equipment but makes a world of difference. It's the ritual of sitting on the floor. Now, I know that might sound a little odd. For many of us, the floor is something we stopped spending time on years ago. But in Japan, it's still common for people of all ages to sit on the floor for meals, tea, reading, even just chatting. And while it may seem like a cultural tradition, it actually supports longevity in some surprising ways. You see, when you regularly sit on the floor, you're naturally strengthening the muscles in your core, legs, and back, just by getting up and down. That simple motion, which we often take for granted, becomes one of the most powerful indicators of health and independence as we age. The ability to rise from the floor without using your hands has been directly linked to longer life expectancy. It's not about doing it quickly. It's about doing it safely and consistently. If the idea of sitting cross-legged sounds impossible right now, don't worry. Start small. Try kneeling with a cushion. Sit on a low stool. Practice squatting near a chair for balance. The point is to engage those smaller stabilizing muscles, the ones that support your posture, balance, and joint health. Even if you never sit on the floor for a meal, just practicing getting up and down a few times a week can help keep your body agile, your legs strong, and your confidence high. It's not about becoming more flexible overnight. It's about reminding your body that it's still capable of moving in ways that keep you free and independent. Now, as we move from the physical to the internal, let's talk about a mindset ritual that's deeply woven into Japanese life. It's called ikigai, and though it doesn't translate easily, it essentially means your reason for being. It's the thing that gets you out of bed in the morning. The thing that brings meaning to your day, even when the weather is gloomy or your joints are aching or life feels a little quieter than it used to. In the West, we often tie purpose to productivity, to goals, careers, achievement. But in Japan, ikigai can be simple. It can be a garden, a morning walk, a family you care for, a craft you love, a daily ritual that brings you joy. It's not about what the world expects from you, it's about what fills you up from the inside. And here's the thing. People who have a clear sense of purpose, who feel like their life matters even in small ways, tend to live longer, recover from illness faster, and experience less anxiety and depression. Purpose doesn't just lift the spirit. It fuels the body. It gives your heart a reason to keep beating strong. So take a moment and ask yourself, what's your ikigai? What do you look forward to even on your slowest days? If you're not sure, that's okay. Purpose can shift over time. It doesn't have to be grand or impressive. It just has to be true. Maybe it's helping someone else. Maybe it's a creative outlet you've been neglecting. Maybe it's the quiet peace of preparing a meal for yourself with love. Whatever it is, let that be your anchor. Something that belongs to you and reminds you, I am still here and I still have something to give. And finally, let's look at a ritual that seems small but speaks volumes about how Japanese culture approaches aging and vitality. It's the practice of gratitude and mindfulness, woven into everyday life through tiny acts of appreciation. In Japan, it's common to say thank you before and after every meal. Thank you to the food. Thank you to the hands that prepared it. Thank you for the moment. These aren't just words. They're a mindset. A way of living that acknowledges the beauty of what's already here instead of always chasing something more. You don't need to sit and meditate for hours or journal every night to feel the effects of this practice. You can simply pause before you eat and take a deep breath. Think of one thing you're thankful for as you sip your tea. Smile as you notice the sunlight streaming through the window. These quiet acknowledgments have a powerful effect on your nervous system. They calm you. They slow the mind. They lower blood pressure, ease digestion, and improve sleep. People who regularly practice gratitude, even in the smallest ways, report better health, stronger relationships, and greater emotional resilience. And when you combine that with movement, purpose, nourishment, and connection, you create a life that's not just long but deeply fulfilling. It's not about chasing the fountain of youth. It's about choosing rituals that restore you, that ground you, that bring joy and energy into your day, not as a luxury but as a way of life. Now that we've walked through the beauty of floor sitting, the power of purpose, and the strength of mindfulness, it's becoming clear that longevity isn't just about extending your life. It's about expanding it, moment by moment, habit by habit, breath by breath. When you begin to see your life not just as a routine but as a series of sacred, nourishing moments, everything starts to feel different. Aging no longer feels like a slow unraveling. It becomes something steadier, something more intentional, something even beautiful. That's the gift of these daily rituals. They remind you that growing older doesn't mean losing who you are, it means deepening who you've always been. We've talked about the power of walking with purpose, building connection, eating with mindfulness, staying physically agile, living with purpose, and practicing gratitude. These aren't just habits, they're lifelines. And when we bring them together into the rhythm of our day, they become the foundation of a life that feels full, energized, and whole. There's one more element, though, that ties all of these rituals together. It's not a seventh step, but more of a thread that weaves through every single one. And that's presence. The ability to truly be where you are, to feel your breath, notice your surroundings, and take part in your own life rather than watching it pass you by. This is something the Japanese have long understood. It shows up in the way they pour tea, in how they bow to one another, in how they arrange their meals, walk through their neighborhoods, tend their gardens. Nothing is rushed. Everything is given just a little bit more care. And in that care there's health. There's clarity. There's peace. You might be surprised at how transformative this can be. You don't have to change your entire lifestyle to feel the shift. It can be as simple as preparing your morning tea without distraction, feeling the warmth in your hands, noticing the aroma, giving yourself a few quiet moments before the day begins. That's not just a ritual. That's healing. Or maybe it's washing the dishes slowly after dinner, letting your thoughts soften instead of racing. Maybe it's pausing to watch the birds outside or sitting down to really enjoy a meal instead of eating on the go. Each time you choose presence, you choose life. You send your body and mind a message: this moment matters. I matter. That may sound small, but over time, it rewires your brain. It slows the stress response. It strengthens your immune system. It supports your digestion. It even makes you more likely to engage in other healthy behaviors, like walking, connecting, and eating well. In Japan, these seemingly small acts of attention aren't considered extra. They're essential. And they're available to anyone, anywhere, at any age. And maybe that's the most important message of all. You don't have to live in Okinawa or be born into a certain culture to benefit from these practices. You don't need to have a perfect body, a big budget, or decades of health behind you. You just need willingness, a little curiosity, and a decision right now, today, to begin. Because the truth is, aging well isn't about erasing your wrinkles or pretending to be young again. It's about stepping into the fullness of who you are, with wisdom, with strength, with the grace that comes from living fully. You've earned every gray hair, every lesson, every quiet strength that others may not even see but lives inside of you. And these Japanese rituals? They're not about becoming someone else. They're about helping you become more of you. The calm, clear, joyful version of you. The one who walks with confidence, laughs easily, eats with joy, and finds beauty in the ordinary. Maybe today is the day you lace up your shoes and go for that walk. Not for fitness but for your spirit. Maybe you sit on the floor for just a minute and feel the strength in your legs. Maybe you reach out to a friend just to say hello. Or cook yourself a beautiful meal and stop when you're satisfied, not stuffed. Maybe you wake up tomorrow and whisper a quiet thank you before your feet even hit the ground. Thank you for the breath. Thank you for another chance to live. Thank you for this moment. Because no matter your age, your story is still being written. And these little rituals? They are the ink. So as we wrap up, I want to encourage you to look at your own life not through the lens of what's missing, but through the lens of what's possible. You don't have to do everything at once. Choose one ritual. Let it settle into your day like a gentle wave. Let it support you, surprise you, and remind you that vitality isn't something you chase. It's something you cultivate. And if this message resonated with you, I'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment below. Tell me which ritual you're most excited to try. Or share your own tips for aging with strength and grace. This is more than just a video. It's a space for community, for encouragement, for hope. If you found value here, please give this video a like. It helps others find it too. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join us. This channel is about living your best life after 60. Not through gimmicks or pressure, but through wisdom, peace, and powerful little choices that build a beautiful life. Because that's what you deserve. Not just more time, but more meaning in that time. Not just more years, but more life in every year. Here's to you. Here's to longevity that feels light, strong, and full of purpose. Here's to living your best life, at any age. You've got this.